This video is one in a series of lessons on the SAT reading. This video is about recognizing arguments. Welcome to another video presented by the Learning Depot. To understand many of the SAT reading passages, you will have to identify the author's argument. Identifying and recognizing arguments goes beyond recognizing the topic or main idea of a passage. Effective arguments are built on premises and conclusions, and how the author builds up his or her claims with supporting devices. What is an argument? An argument is the search for the truth. It is persuasion based on what Aristotle called rhetoric. What is rhetoric? Rhetoric is the art of effective or persuasive speaking or writing, especially the use of figures of speech and other compositional techniques. There are three main rhetorical appeals: ethos, pathos, and logos. Logos has to do with reasoning. It is a literary device that can be defined as a statement, sentence, or argument used to convince or persuade the targeted audience by employing reason or logic. Logos uses inductive or deductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning involves a specific representative fact or case, which is drawn towards a conclusion or generalization. However, inductive reasoning requires reliable and powerful evidence that is presented to support the point. Deductive reasoning involves generalization at the initial stage and then moves on toward the specific case. The starting generalization, again, must be based on reliable evidence to support it at the end. Let's look at an example of logos reasoning. The claims that plastic bags are worse for the environment than paper bags or cotton reusable bags are dubious at best. In fact, compared to paper bags, plastic grocery bags produce fewer greenhouse emissions, require 70% less energy to make, generate 80% less waste, and utilize less than 4% of the amount of water needed to manufacture them. In this case, the author is using reasoning to develop his claim that banning plastic bags will not necessarily help the environment. Let's look at ethos. Ethos confirms the credibility of a writer or a speaker, and thus they become trustworthy in the eyes of listeners and readers who as a result are persuaded by their arguments. Ethos of a speaker or a writer is created largely by the choice of words he or she makes in order to convince listeners or readers. Being an expert on the subject matter that a speaker or a writer chooses determines his or her ethos. Let's look at an example of the use of ethos in writing. A November 2012 statistical analysis by University of Pennsylvania law professor Jonathan Click and George Mason University law professor and economist Joshua D. Wright found that San Francisco's plastic bag ban in 2007 resulted in a subsequent spike in hospital emergency room visits due to E. coli, salmonella, and Campylobacter-related intestinal infectious diseases. The author is using the credibility of the experts to support his claim that banning plastic bags will not necessarily be the right thing to do. Let's look at pathos or emotions. Pathos is a method of convincing people with an argument drawn out through an emotional response. Let's look at this example of the use of pathos. Not content to tell us how much our toilets can flush or what type of light bulb to use to brighten our homes. Some politicians and environmentalists are now focused on deciding for us what kind of container we can use to carry our groceries. In this sentence, the author is appealing to the reader's emotions of anger by alluding to the government's intrusion into our daily lives, which the reader would probably not want. Your ability to recognize arguments and the rhetorical devices used to develop them will be key in your success in understanding many of the SAT reading passages and other complex texts. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. We'll see you real soon.